Welcome to the Wednesday LiveStream for Dulcimer Crossing. Today we're going to talk about articulations. Articulations are the ways that sound can be made. And let's see here. Just hold on. I have to make sure. There we go. Okay. And the ways sound can be made. And I'm going to focus today on the mountain dulcimer. There are articulations that can be made for the hammer dulcimer as well. And so here's our title for today, Articulations. And once again, this is Dulcimer Crossing. Our new platform is dulcimercrossing.simplero until we get everything sorted out. But that's who our sponsor is today. And you may know that I'm one of the co-owners of Dulcimer Crossing, so it's our sponsor because it's what we do. But what I also want to do is share with you this particular, I'm going to change my camera view so you can see. Articulations are the sounds that are made. There are different ways to make the sound. So one is I can use my fingers. Let's get a different set of microphones over here and add that. So I can use my fingers and I can pluck. I can brush. I can hit on them like that, which is, there is someone who's made a mountain dulcimer hammer, which has got a flat edge instead of a single one. So if you really wanted to get that fun bouncy kind of thing, that would be something you could do. And you can do this all with a pick too. You can do it with fingernails, you can do it with finger picks, you can do it with a flat pick. And we've talked a lot about the flat pick. Today I want to talk about the articulations on the other hand, because without using my right hand, it's possible for me to produce sound. I can pluck each individual string, I can strum them all, I can brush them all, I can hit on the fretboard that gives me a sound, maybe not the sound I'm looking for. But the traditional or the more common articulations we hear talked about are Hammer-Ons, where I've got a note, I pluck a note with my right hand, but I only pluck once and I get two notes. Now, you'll notice the further away I get, what starts to happen, I'm getting two notes at the same time because I'm hammering on here, but I'm getting the note that goes back to the 0 fret over here. Some instrument makers don't use the 0 fret, and so that other side isn't heard quite as loud. But the whole point is I'm getting 2 for 1. And I can do this on any string. I can hammer from nothing. And what I'm doing is just my finger itself as I hammer on to the string. It's good for me to be as close behind the fret as possible. I can still produce the sound I'm looking for, and it sounds different. It sounds different. And that's the point of the articulation. I'm looking for something that sounds different. Now, the thing about a hammer-on is it can only go up from one lower note to a higher note. It can go from 0 to any fret. But when I do this up here, I'm getting both sides again. And so I don't tend to do it really high. I tend to do it in the first 4 or 5 frets. And it can go from 0 to anything, or I could put a finger down and I could hammer with any finger. I can do it on doubled strings, but a hammer-on always goes from a low note to a higher note. Now, what goes up must come down. If I'm here, I'm pulling off. It's still a 2-for-1 note. I pluck once, and by lifting up my finger but pulling slightly to the side, I'm pulling, and it's a little, by leaving the string the way I do, it's a little bit of a pluck. This is a whole series of hammer-ons. This is pull-offs until a pluck at the end. Now, pull-offs have to go from a note higher to a note lower. It can go from any fret and the more I pull to the side, the clearer it sounds. And it's a way of getting that kind of thing. Wynton Marsalis likes to do this with his trumpet, where he's playing a melody, but he's going back. Let's see what would be a good melody. So I can go from a note to an open note. Now, just like hammer-ons, I can put a finger down and pull off to that finger. Like I can hammer on from a finger to a hammered note. So hammer-ons and pull-offs are usually shown in music with an H or an HO for a hammer-on, a P or a PO for a pull-off. But a chopstick works. Yeah, adding a drone. Good morning, Talon and James. Yes, a chopstick also works. But that would be the right hand. I'm looking at the left hand now. I missed your comment before. So hammer-ons are going up, pull-offs are coming down. Now, a third ornament, and these are sometimes called ornaments, but they're articulations because they also create the sound, is a slide. And that's where I start anywhere and end up somewhere else. Now here's the Jaws theme. Half step from the F sharp to the G, or the third fret to the or the second fret to the third fret on the bass string. And when I do that, I'm going up and then back down because I'm only plucking once. Or I could pluck more often. Or I could pluck every now and then. Now you notice you could hear some fingerprint on, there's even crease, it's showing up as dirt on my finger. Might be time to start changing these strings. I don't know, or it's just chemistry interaction. But this is a wound string, and when I slide on a wound string with fingerprints, I've got two ridges rubbing up against each other, so I can hear that sound. On the middle string, I don't hear that sound so much. It's not a wound string. Even on double strings, I don't hear it. But I can go. So I can slide, pluck, slide, pluck, slide, pluck, slide, pluck, slide. And that gives the accent of my pluck with my pick. So in there, I was combining slides with plucks and pull-offs. It creates a little bit different. The attack is different. The tone is different. The timbre is a little different with each one of those. So hammer-ons, HO or H, start some note below, go up. Pull-offs, P or PO, start some note higher and go down. Slides can go from either direction, up or down. They can go one fret, or they can so I could slide from 0, I can slide from 1 to something. I can go a big distance when sliding. Jamie, you're saying you love the sound of a slide on a grace note. Yeah, so a grace note's one of those tiny ones that comes before, in classical music, comes before the beat. In Celtic music, comes on the beat. But having that there, it's just it livens it up. It gives it some more flavor, doesn't it? It's like adding some a little pinch of some rosemary or tarragon or garlic or pepper or something. And the articulations can be combined. So this is a pluck, hammer, pull, pull. So sometimes my slide comes with a pluck to begin it. Sometimes it just my finger does a hammer on here and then slides. So they can be combined in a lot of different ways. There's one other articulation I want to talk about right now, which is the harmonic, which is where instead of pushing down on the fret to actually have the string, or instead of pushing down on the string to have it actually touch the fret, my finger becomes what the fret is on the top side of the string. And there are nodes in a string where the vibrations crisscross and give us the octave higher. When I'm at the 7th fret of a mountain dulcimer, that gives me the halfway point between the nut and the bridge. So I get an octave higher. When I go to the 5th fret, what I'm doing is dividing the string into thirds, and that gives me a 5th higher. When I go to the third, or that's the 4th fret. Sorry, yeah, 4th fret. That gives me the 5th higher. When I go to the 3rd fret, that divides the string into fourths, and that gives me, it's half again as long here to here is half. So I get an octave higher. So here's the open strings, D-A-D, octave higher, D-A-D, octave higher, D-A-D, A-E-A, higher, and it's higher than there. So that's what it would sound like at that location, but it actually gives the pitches of the octave higher because I've shortened the length of the string again. So harmonics are another kind of articulation. So I'm going to put in here, we've got right hand is a pick, fingers, finger picks, brush, pluck, pinch. We've got all these kind of things on the right hand. And chopstick or hammer. And we're going to do, we're going to do hammer dulcimer articulations on another week. So the left hand has Hammer-On, pull off, slide, harmonic. Sometimes it'll look like this. Sometimes it'll have a diamond shape. But there's one I didn't talk about before, and that's a bend. And this is when we want to get a note that doesn't currently exist on our instrument. So on the mountain dulcimer, with its diatonic fretboard, we've got some long frets and some short frets. Short frets are from here to here is a whole step. If this was a guitar or a mandolin or a banjo, there'd be a fret here and a fret here, fret here, fret here, fret here. Anytime there's a long one, they'd be divided in half with another fret. I don't have those frets here because this is a mountain dulcimer that's diatonic. With this one addition of a 6.5 fret. Now, that means that I don't have, this is a D note, I don't have a D sharp on my instrument, but I can create the D sharp by bending this string. I can push or pull when I'm on the middle string. When I'm on the bass string, I've got to go toward the middle, because if I go the other way, I fall off the fretboard. When I'm on the melody strings, I've got to go toward the middle, because if I go the other way, same problem as on the bass string. Now, the tension that the strings are under makes it more difficult to push, and it's two strings. This makes it a little more difficult at the 3rd fret to push because it's anchored right here. But when I go, you can really hear a difference on the melody strings. When I'm at the 7th fret, when I'm as far away from either end as I can get. So I end up doing a lot of bending on my middle string. And that little bend there is what gives us that flat 5 that I'm looking for. The unusual thing about a bend, though, is I've always got to think about the note below the one I want, because as I stretch the string, I'm making the string longer and tighter at the same time, and those two forces combined are what make the string pitch raise. Because if you go back to string physics, the length of the string determines the pitch. The longer the string, the lower it is. The shorter it is, the higher it is. Here's a long string. Here's half. So as I move toward the fretboard, shorter, higher, longer, lower. I tune it to get it to be a certain pitch. If I detune, they go down. If I tune it up, they go up. And then the gauge of the string is going to be the other thing, which is what's the diameter of the string. And the thicker string is going to be lower, and it's going to have a different tension that it can take before it breaks than the thinner strings. If I was to play this, put this string on the bass and try to tune it to the pitch it needs to be, it would be very loose and floppy. So when I'm bending the string, I'm taking a string which is already set in its length. It's a particular diameter, and it's already tuned, but I'm changing the length because now this string is longer because I've bent it, and the string has some stretch in it. And I've also tightened it up by stretching the string. I'm making it a little tighter, a little bit longer and tighter, and that's why the pitch goes up. Now, the other thing, this isn't an articulation, but we can also provide some vibrato. There's two different ways. We can go side to side. It's a little easier to hear it on a wound string because there's your fingers contacting with a larger mass. Where I have my finger down and I rock it back and forth, which is slightly stretching the string and loosening it. But I could also do it this way if I want a real wide vibrato. So those are the articulations for the mountain dulcimer. Let's just see if there's any questions or comments about that. Not seeing any. Let me share my screen so you can see on the Dulcimer Crossing site. We do have if I go into this search bar here in the little magnifying glass and say articulations, you'll find where on our site articulations show up. So the Funeral March of the Marionette is a lesson. Here's another one that uses pull-offs. Elk in the Meadow uses articulations. Adding articulations, I'm slowly calling them out. Left-hand articulations for the mountain dulcimer is a whole course which focuses on all of these articulations. It doesn't focus on the harmonics. If I'd want to look for harmonics, I'd go here and say, I'd like to look for harmonics, and you'll find as it searches through, we have a whole course that has instructions for playing harmonics by Nina Zanetti, as well as Larry Conger. Larry Conger particularly likes to do the hammer-on and as the cluck for cluck old hen, and using that as a sound effect. In Nina's lessons, she has a whole thing on harmonics, but one of the things about this new platform is we're able to combine some lessons. So in one course, you get how both Larry and Nina talk about these articulations, for example. Yeah, you can't bend the neck on a mountain dulcimer because it's touching the fretboard. There is some neck bending sometimes people will do on a guitar as well. I don't like to do that because I don't want to mess with the structural part of my guitar. So now there's a couple other things I wanted to show you. We've been making some progress on the backing tracks library in how these things appear in the new site. So this is our database, which has everything. You'll notice the number down here is getting shorter because when like Cold Winter Night, we have 4 different backing tracks. That'll end up being one place. But like if I go to Amazing Grace, you can see in this one page, we have all these different backing tracks. You can listen to it here. You can download it here. And there's links back to the backing tracks library. If I wanted to do Blackberry Blossom, you'll see that not only do we have the backing track, but we have a bit of PDF for some guidance. Let's look at the 2-chord. Here's the chord progression that's being used as we would play this particular backing track up here. And you can download the PDF, you can download the backing track as well. Backing tracks are really for us to be able to develop our skills with playing with something that's not a metronome. And so we're playing in time with that. We're also, I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. We're also learning to play by ear. So we're listening for the aural cues of when did the chords change? What might I do differently now? So those are some some of the features and some places that you can follow up with more about what we're talking about today in the articulations and the backing tracks. Is I'm working through that. Here's I know what I wanted to say about that. The backing tracks library, you can tell which ones. Let me share my screen again. Is as these tablature things go away, that shows you this one, for example, is in our old site. So it's going to take you back to that place, and I'm going to close that. But this one is in the new site. Whoops. I guess I didn't make that copy and paste. Here's the one in the new site. So I've got a copy and paste thing I've got to fix. So it brings you back to the Dulcimer Crossing site, the new platform. And as we work through these and combine these, this number here will get lower because it's not going to be based, it's going to be based on titles rather than the different speeds that these different tracks show up. So just know that that's happening. Now there's something else I want to tell you about. Here it is. Let me find it. Share my screen. Next week on Thursday, Wendy Sange is going to be giving a workshop. It's part of our monthly workshop series. And if you don't know, Wendy is someone who has been in the Mountain Dulcimer community before for a long time. She's a wonderful, inspiring, and energetic teacher. Last year, she had several health challenges that, including she had to have a small malign, not malignant, so benign. I think it was malign. It caused her struggles, but benign tumor removed, and she's had to relearn a lot of things, and highlights the new beginnings things that we always go through. So she'll be talking about that. It'll be a Mountain Dulcimer focused workshop, but anybody can learn about when you're learning a new tune, how to work through rough spots, polishing a tune, writing a tune, joining the tune in the jam. And this is a benefit for members of Dulcimer Crossing at the workshop level, but we have figured out a way for people who only want to come to the workshop to do that. And so that's the link to sign up just for the workshop without becoming a member of Dulcimer Crossing. And just come to the workshop. You'll get the experience of the workshop all at once. Plus, you'll get the archive video at the end, which will be once it's released, you'll get an email saying here it is. So that is something new that I don't think I've told you about before because we just figured out how to do it. So that's coming up next week, next Thursday. This particular week is the Walnut Valley Festival in Winfield, Kansas, which is where the National Mountain and National Hammer Dulcimer Contest will be held. So we wish everyone who is sharing their music there the best possible performance of what you do to make it sound like what you do. And I know of no more enthusiastic audience than that audience. They love to listen. I used to compete and say I couldn't buy a better audience for 50 cents a head. So you pay your registration fee to be part of the contest, and then you get a good audience. Sometimes you get to come home away with a prize. More often I did not, but I came away with very valuable experiences. Sometimes I came away with the prize, also a valuable experience. And I also want to let you know that the Southern California Dulcimer Heritage is taking place the end of next week, and they've extended registration through tomorrow. So, and Jody Marshall will be the Hammer Dulcimer outside headliner. Aubrey Atwater will be the Mountain Dulcimer outside headliner, and Patty Emelot will be and Barbara Gershman will be teaching Hammer Dulcimer, Karen Harvey, Hammer Dulcimer. Bill Dempsey will be teaching mountain dulcimer and ukulele. Leo Kretzner will be teaching mountain dulcimer, as will Joellen Lapidus. And Patty McCollum and Terry Gouchois are also, they help with their teaching workshops and helping with jams as well. So there's Friday night jams, and then there's a concert on Saturday night, which features all these fine performers. And so registration for the workshops closes tomorrow, the 16th. The concerts tickets you can purchase up through the 25th. So that's a festival that's coming up really quick, and there's still time to get into that. So I want to call your attention to that. And I think that is all of the commercials. No, it's not all of the commercials. I've got one more. Okay. Let's stop sharing. I have my fall workshops. I don't know why I was pretending that wasn't happening. But my fall work registration is open for my fall workshops. Or fall classes. They are run 6 weeks. They'll start the 27th, so not yet. But I have classes on playing blues on the mountain dulcimer. They'll make use of some of these articulations we talked about, and the hammer dulcimer. A fingerstyle, creating fingerstyle level 1 fingerstyle guitar arrangements, and mountain dulcimer joy, which is a left-hand fingering exercises using Beethoven's Ode to Joy, and creating holiday arrangements for mountain and hammer dulcimers, solos, and ensembles. And you can see this is we're going to be looking at some mixed ensembles as well. And then starting in October, we'll have my dulcimer friendly evening prayer service. In October, we'll learn the prayer service music. In November, we'll learn the Advent tunes. And then in December, we'll have a play along opportunity, which is what we did last year for Advent and also Lent. So those are things that are registration is open for all of those now. If you have other questions or topics that you would like to put into the Dulcimer Crossing live stream hopper, please let me know. Jim, I see you're saying, does anybody put Scruggs pegs on a mountain dulcimer? There are Scruggs style picks, but not necessarily for that particular tune. I have seen some people do that as a fun gimmick, but they tend not to be with scroll or with flat heads, because then the top comes out the back. They tend to be with the traditional scroll head where the pegs come out the side, and it's a lot easier to manipulate that. So that has happened. So good question and observation. It's great to be with you again. This live stream will be archived here on Dulcimer Crossing. It's archived on the Dulcimer Crossing Facebook page. It's archived on Dulcimer Crossing's Vimeo page, as well as our live events, past events. Once we're done today, it'll be there. So I invite you to, if you want, that's curated, everything's in order and all that kind of stuff on the Dulcimer Crossing page, and workshop members and mentor members get access to that as well. So thank you for your attention today. It's great to be with you. I would say it's great to see you, but I guess it's great to see me because I can't see you. But I wish you all well until we see each other next time. Bye-bye.